Hi, Brian.
How are you?
Nice to talk to you today. So, we're talking about your new comedy series, Frank of
Hmm.
Ireland, which you created with your brother Domhnall. How did you come up with the premise? Which one of you first initiated that idea, and what is it based on?
Yeah, so we created it with another person, Michael Maloney. So the three of us created the show. We started writing it about 6 years ago, so it was a very long process. And it just came from, I wanted to work with Donald. I'd worked with him before. I knew he was a great writer. He wrote and directed some short films that I was in, so I wanted to work with him again. And I just said, it'd be great to do something fun together. And he said, hold that thought. Let me bring in Michael. The two of them have a writing relationship, and they've written sketches for TV, for charity. So the three of us just got in a room and kind of started chatting about what it could be and what makes us laugh and stuff. But we needed a long time to kind of just really zone in on what was, the fundamental stuff. So we were glad at the time because it took a while to really get a shape in that story.
How did you decide between the two of you which roles you were going to play?
Well, because originally I had suggested to Donald that we should do something, um, and we'd love to do. We even mentioned things like Alan Partridge and David Brent, and just that kind of misanthropic but funny character we thought could be really play in Dublin, in Ireland. And so from that point, it was always going to be myself who was playing Frank. And then the more we talked about Frank, the more we kind of decided that he would have this family and he would have this best friend. And once we figured out that this best friend would be very very close to him, obviously, and he'd be called Doofus, and they would kind of be this double act. We kind of figured that, well, Don will have to be that other person. There's no other person we can think of who do as good a job. So yeah, I think we were always from the get go. It was always the two of us playing those parts. Yeah.
When was it filmed? Was it before the pandemic?
It was we filmed February March of 2020, and we got 5 weeks into a 6 week shoot. And then obviously the news got worse and worse and worse, so we had to shut down. But it was the safe thing to do, and it gave us the summer then just to look at the edits and kind of recalibrate and see what we needed. But we were very lucky. Channel 4 and Amazon were great with giving us 2 extra weeks then to film the week's shoot. So obviously all the safety protocols had to be put in place and everything. So we finished it then later that year, and we were just very grateful to be working again after the pandemic struck.
The cast is so great. How involved were you in the casting of the show?
Yeah, we were very involved. There's a few different people. There's us, obviously, then the director, then Sharon Horgan, who was producing it, and Channel 4 and Amazon, and everyone kind of gets together and talks about who they'd like to see, as well as the casting director, Carla Strong, who found some really great actors. But um, it was, I think once the actors, you kind of know when they come in if they're on the same wavelength as you in terms of how they see the comedy be deployed, I suppose. But yeah, there's a lot of great, brilliant Irish actors, so it was tough deciding some of the roles, but we were spoiled for choice.
You've done so many dramatic films and shows over the past few years. Was it a relief just to let go and not have to be serious and go for the laughs?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes going for the laughs can be the hardest thing because the minute you start enjoying yourself too much, um, it looks like you're in on the joke, and then it's not as funny. So, I think really nailing those comedic beats, I think it's just as tough as the dramatic stuff. But I certainly found it refreshing, and there was so much fun to be had each day because Donald was there and Michael Maloney, our co-writer, was on set as well. So we had a lot of fun making it. Yeah.
Did you have favorite comedies growing up which might have influenced you, like favorite Irish ones? Because personally, I love Father Ted, and this kind of
Mm.
reminded me just a little bit insofar as the humor, not the situation, of course.
Yeah. The bit of Quality was huge. Like it's such a landmark show in Ireland. You know, there's not one person who doesn't know about it or who hasn't seen it. So I think there's a bit of Ted and Dougal in Frank and Doofus, whether we like it or not. I think that's unavoidable. It's a classic kind of double act. It's hard to get away from that. In terms of other Irish comedies, I can't really think right now, but it's one of those things in the world we live in. Like we were definitely saturated with American stuff. Like definitely The Simpsons. I just remember it was on Sky. Was it on Sky One every day? Definitely on Sundays to be 4 episodes or something like that. So it um definitely seeped into our psyches in a way that even if they don't even consciously aware of. So we were really inspired by a lot of American stuff and English stuff, as well as Irish stuff.
So I know production is slow now, especially here in North America. We've gone into another lockdown, at least where I live. How is it in Ireland right now? And do you have anything lined up?
Well, I live in London, but I I've been working this year very luckily, but like all last year was focused on Frank of Ireland, which in a way was a blessing because it was so bad with the amount of jobs being lost, all the bad things that happened with the pandemic. So we were happy to be working, and so I've been working on a show called Extinction, which will be out later this year or early next year. Fingers crossed.
Oh, fantastic. Thank
Right.
you so much for talking to me. Thank you for the show. It's just hilarious.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alexander. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.